Hello, host Eric here. And I just did a little experiment with INFP listener, my supervisor. When he or she arrived, I said, "Hey, or "Hey, supervisor." I said, "Hey, soup," but regardless, then I didn't say anything. I just sat there and I looked at the camera for a while, and I was like, I wonder if I don't say anything, if INFP listener will say something. And INFP listener did not say something. The reason I thought that was possible was because the green microphone was on. Anyhow, then INFP listener went offline. So I'm always curious about those sort of dynamics in general. I've noticed a lot of people don't want to be the only other person in here besides me. So that's a fairly common phenomenon, which is interesting. I don't understand quite the cause of it, but I guess it's just more socially risky, probably. Anyway, I've got a different topic than that in mind right now, but I thought I'd share that. I thought it was interesting. Some people at least would find it interesting. Let's move on to the topic at hand, which hopefully you will also find interesting, which is the first in what I hope will be a series of videos on different kind of frameworks. And I actually have a couple of brief notes here that I've written on the side of a French fry box, as you can see. These are all the notes I have on this. So, yes, that's what I'm going from here. Alright, the point of it is that people interpret life through different frameworks, and some of these frameworks are easily determined or easily described as dichotomies. One such dichotomy might be called the attainment versus potentiality dichotomy. And in this dichotomy, we're looking at the ability of the individual to achieve outcomes and or personal statuses, whatever you want to call that, in regards to the potential possible ideal form. Fucking god damn it, I fucked it up again. It's too far from the ideal potential perfect form of anything. Perfect form of garbage. I just leave this in and go. See, this is what happens when you don't attain shit like that. You get pissed off. I'm just going to leave it in there and go. Alright, here we go. So, attainment versus potentiality. I'm trying to attain a perfect instance of media in this particular video. So far, I've already fucked it up. But oh well, who cares? If I meta out of it enough, I might actually successfully make it into the perfect point of the media itself or the demonstration of it, even though it's unintentional. So basically, the point of this video is supposed to be about frameworks and about attainment versus potentiality. My point is that different people attain their potentialities on different frames themselves. So, for example, I might be about trying to compare myself against an idealized version of myself. Somebody else might compare their achievements to an idealized version of what their achievements would be, outcomes in that regard. Or they might compare their progress to a set of benchmarks of expected progress on a variety of different dimensions. In any of these sort of understandings of oneself, it's an attainment versus potentiality issue. So let's give some concrete examples to make it more clear. Let's say I'm into baseball and I want to be a good baseball player. I'd like to be a Major League Baseball player. I'm going to be comparing potentially my performance in that regard against the expected arc of somebody who successfully attains the level of achievement that I want to attain. That would be one way of evaluating oneself as a baseball player against a potentiality, one's aspiring, the level of attainment one aspires to. There are plenty of other more psychological kind of examples. So, in a good example that would be something like the ability to not be defensive when somebody criticizes you. If you're trying to improve in that area and you might be comparing it against an idealized vision of what that would look like, which would be zero instances of that. Well, that would be an example of another attainment versus potentiality kind of a framework that you're using. Okay, so now let's make the next part of this analogy to bring the idea full circle and point out that this would seem to, in a lot of ways, correlate with people who use extroverted intuition, the dominant function, and people who use introverted intuition as the dominant function in regards to the INTP, or the NTPs in general, not just in the dominant function, but the NE users, the ones who have it in the first two, or the NI users, the one who have it in the first two, that they're going to compare themselves against an ideal standard of the individual or against an ideal standard of the goals. And so the ENTJ will not really care whether they're good at something, but they'll care they'll get good at something because they care about getting whatever being good at it will get them. They'll care about the outcome. Whereas in contrast, the NTP expects to they value instead the being good at something, and then they have to find a way to make it produce money related outcomes, basically, or other sort of means of making oneself useful to the group such that one's existence is subsidized by commerce and such. Okay, so that's my thoughts on this framework of attainment versus potentiality. The first of what I hope will be a series of different kind of frameworks in which humans might view their own life and themselves as individual entities in time and space. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese. Thanks for watching. Talking with Fans People.